Wasn't in that. Oh, thank goodness. Yeah.
All right, I'd like to welcome everyone watching from home and those of you in the chambers to the Bangor School Committee regular meeting of Thursday, May 28th. If you are able to, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, our first order of business is a recognition, which we're very excited for, Penobscot County Teacher of the Year. Superintendent Robinson.
The Bangor School Department and the Bangor School Committee would like to recognize Fairmount gifted and talented teacher Marcy Susie as Maine's 2026 Penobscot County Teacher of the Year. Maine County Teachers of the Year serve as ambassadors for teachers, students, and schools throughout their year of service. Congratulations, Marcy. We're so excited for you.
Thank you for giving me a couple of minutes. It's with tremendous pride and excitement that I share that Marcy Susie has been named the 2026 Penobscot County Teacher of the Year. Mrs. Susie has dedicated more than 3 decades to education, guided by her belief that students learn best when they feel seen, valued, and supported. She began her career teaching 4th grade in Atlanta, Georgia, while earning her master's degree in educational leadership and her gifted and talented certificate at Georgia State University. After moving back to Bangor to raise her family, she spent 13 years as the gifted and talented coordinator for Herman Schools before joining Fairmount 11 years ago, where she could return to working more closely with students. Currently, Mrs. Susie serves as the educator for accelerated students teaching grades 4th and 5th, math and reading. Beyond the classroom, she is a pivotal part of the Fairmount community, contributing as a Care Closet grant co-writer. I had to practice that one.
Good tongue twister.
Fundraiser coordinator, school store, and Falcon Council co-coordinator and PBIS team member. She has also recently been selected to serve on the Maine State Numeracy Advisory Council, where she collaborates with educators statewide to strengthen mathematics instruction and student achievement. What Miss Susie enjoys most about her work is the joy and curiosity that fills her classroom each day. She treasures the excitement of turning the classroom into an interactive learning experience, thoughtful book discussions, and the countless small moments of laughter and connection and growth she shares with students. This recognition reflects not only her excellence as an educator, but also the countless ways she impacts students and families beyond the classroom each day. Marcy was nominated by 2 Fairmount families who spoke about her creativity, dedication, and the meaningful relationship she builds with students. Their words reflected what so many of us already know, that Marcy goes above and beyond for children every day. As a school leader, one of the greatest privileges is working alongside educators who consistently remind you why public education matters so deeply. Marcy is one of those educators. She leads with kindness, innovation, patience, and an unwavering belief in students. She creates opportunities for children to feel successful, valued, and inspired, and helps build a culture where students feel safe, taking risks, growing, and truly loving learning. In moments like these, we are reminded that schools are much more than buildings. Schools are people, schools are relationships, schools are memories, traditions, and the adults who show up every day to make a difference in children's lives. Thank you to Marcy Susie for the extraordinary work she does for students and for representing Fairmount and the Bangor School Department so well. We are incredibly proud of Marcy and grateful for what she does every day. Congratulations to Marcy Susie, Penobscot County Teacher of the Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Dr. Quirk.
Thank you. Thank you for honoring me tonight. Being selected as the 2026 Penobscot County Teacher of the Year during such a challenging time for Fairmount is both deeply humbling and emotional for me. I know Fairmount. My dad went to Fairmount. I went to Fairmount. My son went to Fairmount. This school is woven into the fabric of who I am. It is more than a building. It is a community that has shaped generations of children and families, including my own. I truly believe this honor is not because of where I teach, but because of who I have the privilege of teaching and who I get to teach alongside. I know personally how education can uplift a child and change the trajectory of their life. At Fairmount, we understand that students sometimes carry more than a backpack through our doors each morning. They carry anxiety, unmet needs, uncertainties, and responsibilities we may never fully see or understand. Because of that, in my own upbringing, I have strived to create a classroom where children feel safe, valued, deeply loved, and excited to learn. As our community navigates this difficult transition surrounding the temporary closure of Fairmount, what remains constant is the people, the students, the families who trust us with their children, and the educators who continue to show up with compassion, commitment, and love, even during uncertain times. No matter what door students walk through next year, they will be greeted with open arms and a loving heart, because that is the Bangor way. This recognition may have my name on it, but it truly belongs to my students, my families, my colleagues, and this incredible community that continues to show strength and unwavering support for one another. Thank you.
Congratulations again. Moving on to adjustments to the agenda, Superintendent Robinson.
We do have two adjustments this evening. D2C, leave of absence for the 26-27 and 27-28 school years, and D2D, report of reassignments.
I have a motion.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
6-0, thank you.
Next, we move to public comments. First, I have to read a statement. Members of the public may address the school committee for up to 3 minutes on school and education matters. Public comments shall be directed to the school committee and be brief and not repetitive. The school committee's practice is not to respond or debate with speakers during the public comment period. We are here to listen. The superintendent or her staff will follow up on comments outside of the meeting as appropriate. The committee will not permit profanity or shouting and requests that speakers be civil. Discussion of specific personnel or student matters and complaints concerning specific employees or students will not be allowed, but will be addressed through established policies and procedures. Before speaking, we encourage speakers to review school committee policy AC, which provides that the committee does not and will not discriminate nor tolerate discrimination against students or employees on the basis of membership in a protected class. Speakers who share comments contrary to this policy will not be allowed to continue. Before starting, please state your name and place of residence. Who would like to start us off for public comment tonight?
Molecular structure, thank you. Molecular structure of asbestos is magnesium 3, silicone 2, oxygen 5, hydroxyl pairs 4. And that's the way it's taught in our schools today everywhere. Online, you can look it up. There have been over 250,000 deaths a year due to asbestos exposure. And it's something in the suite of cancer treatments that can be cured more efficiently. Mesothelioma, cystic fibrosis also fall into these categories. If we can integrate the new sciences into our schools, The emphasis of the molecular structure as it's taught in science is on the hydroxyl pairs because we all in our human physiology have hydroxyl pairs in action every moment, oxygen and hydrogen bonds every moment inside our bodies and our environment. But if we look at the TIDES 20 index of the moment of our environment every day in succession with the periodic table every 24 hours, there's a uniform process, just like there is a uniform sports team regulation on the sports books. But it's a process from element to element all throughout the entire periodic table of elements, 120 elements, over 120 elements, condensed and summarized into 20-step processes every 4 tides, each of the 4 daily tides on planet Earth. And when you take a magnesium silicon pair and apply it to that ordinary gift that the environment has given us to live every day, you don't see the beauty of the environment anymore. You see the cancer and you see it in clear chemistry and biology and physiology expression. And that's mathematics. And if we can get that mathematics to the medicine makers through our education system, then we can help save 250,000 lives a year. And my idea is we take a 40 schools approach, give me a classroom of 40 students anywhere in the United States, and I'll teach them how to, and make them ready to teach. They're already teachers. Teach them how to teach, thank you, teach the science, the biomagnetic sciences. Then they go out to 40 schools and teach those schools with 40 other teachers in their classrooms, and we have 1,600 and then 64,000 schools educated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, school committee members, Superintendent Robinson. I'm Josh Bridges. I'm a Bangor resident, and I have 2 kids in the Bangor School Department. First, I want to thank you for listening to the community, for slowing down the process, gathering more public input. I really appreciate that. I trust you're going to make the right decision tonight. The momentum from the community appears to support the school within a school option, and I support that as well. I think my next points are obvious, but I feel compelled to say them anyway. This is clearly not the end of this conversation. I'll use an analogy from my favorite sport, which is running. And I'd say we're about 800 meters into the marathon at this point. The pace we've been moving at is not sustainable. And while I recognize the school department has many competing priorities, there must continue to be serious focus on our aging school infrastructure. We need a steady, sustainable pace for the long term to address this. In both my professional and personal life, success comes from establishing both short-term and long-term goals. The fundamental question that still feels unanswered to me is this: what is the long-term goal? Are we ultimately moving toward a consolidated school system, or are we committed to preserving the community schools? It's difficult for me to evaluate short-term decisions like you're making tonight when the long-term vision is still very unclear. That question also shapes decisions about buildings like Fairmount. And I want to say this clearly: fear should not drive these conversations. A building being 100 years old or containing asbestos does not automatically mean it should be permanently abandoned. The long-term vision for Bangor schools should be developed thoughtfully and collaboratively with the community. Over the last few weeks, we've seen meaningful public engagement. I hope that same level of engagement will continue as we determine the future of our schools. You have the community attention right now. And that is an opportunity for all of you. Harness that energy to build a clear shared vision for the future. Accomplishing that will require strong leadership. And to be clear, strong leadership does not mean top-down leadership. We need leaders who continue to engage the community, establish long-term visions, and make thoughtful short-term decisions that move us toward that vision. Please continue leading us at a sustainable marathon pace towards stronger school infrastructure and a strong future for Bangor schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else for public comment tonight?
Good evening. My name is Megan Anderson, and I'm a mom to a rising Fairmount 5th grader and a rising 14th Street 3rd grader. It's no secret that we stand on the verge of a vote to send Fairmount students to Bangor High for the next school year and possibly longer. I understand that there is significant community support for this decision. Member Sprague spoke eloquently about the potential for the community to rally around our displaced students. But the sentiment I've predominantly encountered is relief. Relief from officials that this plan gained approval of the masses, and relief from non-Fairmount parents that their students are not implicated. I am here to emphasize that the plan for next year is, however, not a long-term solution and should not be regarded with celebration. The school within a school might cause the least disruption district-wide, but you must keep top of mind that for the 250 or so Fairmount students, their families, and their teachers, this is a significant disruption. I am confident that Fairmount and Bangor High staff are going to do all that they can to make next year a positive experience for our kids, and I really appreciate Dr. Butler's optimistic remarks last session. But at the end of the day, our kids are not attending a school. They will be cordoned off in a hallway, albeit a long one. They will not have a cafeteria or a library, or it sounds like an age-appropriate playground. They will no longer have the neighborhood school that so many kids walk, bike, and scooter to. They will face uncertainty about where they attend school in subsequent years. Some of my daughter's best friends will not be returning to Bangor schools next year because of this decision, and I don't blame them. We have had dinner table discussions in my own home about whether or not we should consider a move. The district has undoubtedly failed current and future Fairmount students. Superintendent Robinson often reminds us that she's only been here for 2 years, and thus, I'm inferring, is not responsible for the effects of the deferred maintenance now crashing down upon us. Members of the school committee might also be afforded the same dispensation given their tenures. None of that matters, however, because you are here now. We all are. The last couple of months as a BSD parent have been, to say the least, disappointing, but the future need not be. The time afforded by the plan you're about to vote on starts now. Take this opportunity to transparently and collaboratively craft a plan that considers all of our aging infrastructure and benefits all of Bangor's students. The future of Bangor schools, the reason so many of us come and stay in this town, legitimately hangs in the balance. It's my kids' 4th and 5th grade years, but as school committee members and school administrators, this is your legacy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Erin Porter. I'm a resident of Bangor. My husband and I are the parents of 6 children, all of whom will be attending Bangor schools, excuse me, next year. I would like to raise the issue of transportation and start and end times and what that actually will look like for families of multiple children. Next fall, if the school within a school is chosen, for example, I will need to have students at the high school for 8 o'clock, Dowdy for 8:30, then back to the high school for 9 o'clock, but also then be at 14th Street at the same exact time for my 3 remaining children. And then obviously the pickup times in reverse. I'm no stranger to specialized transportation. Our son attended down east instead of our neighborhood school for 4 years. And his afternoon bus ride did not drop him off at my house or at our stop, excuse me, until 4:15 to 4:30 every single night consistently. I live 2.7 miles from down east. So, and that was not with a lot of students on it. How much longer will an at-capacity school bus routed from across town with bridge construction take to drop off students in the afternoon? My son is autistic and does an amazing job managing his behaviors at school, but I can guarantee that he will not be able to, sorry, lost my point. he will not be able to be on a at-capacity school bus for over an hour in that sensory environment with his restraint actively collapsing after school. Also, we have had not great experiences with our children on the buses and them being exposed to very inappropriate things, all the while riding buses with monitors on them. The existence of cell phones with unrestricted internet access pose a very real well-being threat to our children and are not able to be policed appropriately on the bus. Parents should have concerns about the length of time that their students would need to ride the bus. Currently, our youngest children do ride the bus home, but next year we will have 2 students that cannot be released from the bus without a parent present. So if I'm across town picking up and do not make it back in time for the bus, those children cannot get off, thus disrupting the driver and the route. I recently attended the middle school science fair at the high school, and the amount of buses and traffic and places to get stuck behind a bus at the high school is a logistical nightmare. Either the start and end time need to be amended, or there needs to be windows of time that are extended compared to what there are now at Fairmount and at the elementary schools to allow for picking up and dropping off across town. While we have a very large family and the okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Amy Light, and I am a Bangor resident. This is my son, Judah, who clearly attends Dowdy Middle School. Just came from a baseball game, lost to Cohen by 1 run. Before I share my opinion, I want to recognize the fact that other people here or listening, many of whom are friends and neighbors of mine, have a different opinion than me. And I respect that we all have a different perspective, and I just wish to share my own. I'm a parent of 4 children in the Bangor School Department, as well as an employee working as a substitute teacher and a contracted speech language pathologist. I currently have 2 daughters at 14th Street School, 1 daughter at Fairmount School, and 1 son at Dowdy Middle School. Next year, I'll have an incoming 4th grader and an incoming 8th grader. Not only do I have the perspective of a parent and an educator, but no matter what decision is made, at least one of my children will be impacted. I spoke briefly at the last school committee workshop meeting expressing my opinion on the options to be voted on. I'm opposed to option number 3, as most people are. I feel strongly about our sense of community in our neighborhoods. This is part of what led my husband and I back to the Bangor area after living and working in Massachusetts and southern Maine. My children have thrived socially, academically, and athletically, and a big part of that is due to our community and our sense of belonging. I am in support of option 2. Option 2 keeps intact our sense of community, especially during this difficult time. Essentially, picking up Fairmount and placing it in the high school building makes the most sense to me, given the options provided. Of course, this is not an ideal place for my 9-year-old daughter and other 4th and 5th graders to be, but I believe the plan laid out to keep the school a separate entity is a safe and reasonable one. What doesn't seem safe and reasonable to me is option 1, that includes sending 8th graders to the high school. It has been explained that due to factors such as teaching certifications and switching of classes, that it will not be possible to keep 8th graders separate from the high schoolers. It's not appropriate for 8th graders to be immersed with high schoolers because the age and maturity differences are significant. Younger students may be exposed too early to older teen behaviors, social pressures, and situations that they are not emotionally ready to handle. Middle school students often need more structure, supervision, and age-appropriate support than a typical high school environment provides. Not to mention, 8th graders across the entire city would be missing out on their 8th grade year in middle school. They miss out on the chance to be leaders and role models at their school. They miss out on a year of celebration and milestones, and also missing out on a year to perhaps excel in sports, clubs, or music. I feel option 2 is the least disruptive for everyone involved, not only because of the number of people impacted, but also when considering the disruption to students' educational and social experiences. In my opinion, option 2 is our best option at this point in time. Thank you.
Thank you. You have anyone else for public comment tonight?
Hi, my name is Alexandra Henricks. I live in Bangor, and I am a mom to 3 children who attend 14th Street, Fairmount, and Dowdy. Like others who have spoken tonight, I want to emphasize that this is not an ending, but a beginning. Like many in the room, as well as many across the city who cannot be here tonight, I feel both relief and trepidation. Relief at the slowed process that pivoted to include community input and ideas instead of simply being unilaterally top-down, and trepidation that we face major long-term decisions in the near future and that the same messy, opaque process might await us. I really hope that it's not replicated. I really hope that you've learned from this and that this is a teachable moment. Dr. Robinson, you have reminded us at multiple meetings this spring that you did not even know Fairmount 2 years ago. And I hope you have heard, truly heard, how many of us parents and educators like Marcy Susie do know this school and are ready and wanting to help fill that knowledge gap, to organize and think critically and analyze and plan and problem solve together. This is a really strong community. We are better for our educators, our district, our schools. We are better together, and I hope you will let us keep that togetherness in these months ahead. And I hope we'll also get some, in the near future, plans of what that process will look like and how that will be outlined. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment tonight? Okay, and I do just need to read into the record a letter that all of you have from Zach and Casey Falcon that is their public comment. Thank you. All right, moving on to superintendent's proposals and updates. We have one action item, the Fairmount reorganization plan. Superintendent Robinson?
Under the authority granted to school boards by Maine Statute 20A, Part 2, Chapter 101, 1, Section 1001-8, which empowers school boards to determine which schools students attend, classify them, and transfer them from school to school where more than one school is maintained at the same time, I recommend that the committee approve option 2, a school within a school model where Fairmount students and staff relocate to lower A wing at Bangor High School for the 2026-2027 school year. I have some additional comments once we're on a motion.
Sure. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Superintendent Robinson, you want to start us off?
Sure. First, I'd like to thank all of our administrators, district team members, teachers, staff, teachers and all staff for your flexibility and patience as we navigate our current facility challenges. And I'd also like to extend deepest gratitude to our school committee, families, and community members for your transparent feedback as we work diligently to maintain a safe learning environment for all of our students and staff. While our current facility needs has been a topic of conversation in previous years, as many people have mentioned, we have come to that point where we need to take action. And my aim is to do indeed what has been proposed, which is to have a collaborative process, which began last year with our strategic planning. We've had community members, we've had students, we've had staff members provide us input on our next steps for strategic plan, which is going to have a facilities component. It's unfortunate that the series of events transpired in an unexpected way that has accelerated this timeline, but does not change the fact that this is clearly a very strong community, and my aim is to support the community through this. Having an accelerated timeline to determine best next steps has been challenging to our school department and community. We've explored various options, and as a short-term solution, the school within a school model is being proposed. Just a bit more about the details that our staff are working diligently to incorporate. I can assure you all that all educational programming currently available to Fairmount students will continue next year. Fairmount students will have dedicated classrooms in Lower A hallway of Bangor High School. Schedules are being coordinated to allow for some spaces to be shared, incorporating more of a regular school experience for our Fairmount students, while not mixing the two schools. Fairmount students will have dedicated bathrooms, a play space, music, art, library, and PE to ensure program continuity. The Fairmount students will have their own entrance. Safeguards such as secure doors with key card access will be installed over the summer to create a separate learning environment. Our Centegix safety alert system will be reconfigured to allow separation between the high school and Fairmount. Cameras and access controls for staff will be retrofitted to meet the needs of both schools. I have full trust in our staff and administrators to continue to work collaboratively and innovatively so that our students continue to thrive. Following this vote, and later in my report, I have some timeline of events that will be shared and added to our webpage that will allow for continued updates for our students and families so that there is up-to-date information as we proceed beyond the end of the school year. This is a temporary solution and the beginning of a deeper conversation related to the overall educational experiences of all of our students in the Bangor School Department. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Member Cook.
First, I just wanted to apologize to committee members and the public. I missed the workshop and listening sessions, but I was able to connect with committee members, watch the recording, so I appreciate all the feedback that was shared. When I read option 2, and Mrs. Susie can attest to this, when we worked together at Herman, there was a pre-K program that was a part of the high school, and it was very much not separate in any way, shape, or form. It was right front and center of the high school. And it was an integral part of the culture of the high school, and the way that the high school students really kind of took on leadership roles and they had internships with the pre-K students, and the pre-K students utilized the library, and it was just a really wonderful part of the culture of the high school. And as a matter of fact, when there was room at the elementary school for the pre-K to move, the pre-K teachers were devastated. They wanted to stay at the high school, and so this has worked elsewhere. And so I just wanted to share that as just, a bit of hope.
Thank you. Other comments or questions? Member Sprague?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do want to acknowledge everybody that's been a part of this process so far. It's hard to stand in front of a group of people, including your neighbors and friends and peers, and it's brave to do so. I just want to offer a word of support for this plan. I spoke at length at the last meeting, so I'm not going to rehash all of it, other than I do recognize that people are only just now coming into this conversation now because people are living their lives. They're busy out there, and there will be people in our community that don't really have a sense of this until August even. And jumping forward in my comments a little bit, all the more reason why our communication has to be exactly spot on and consistent and almost like relentless about it. I want to acknowledge there was a nice newsletter from Fairmount today, actually, about this meeting and with a positive take on the outlook. And I want to see that consistently so that people can have a sense of what's going on in the background for the next 3.5 months, because there's a lot of work that has to happen. I do want to also acknowledge that I think our focus is rightfully on the students, and then secondarily the families, the parents, but there's also a lot of teachers that you've acknowledged, the superintendent has acknowledged that there's teachers at Fairmount that are going to be, of course, hugely disrupted by this, but there's teachers at the high school as well that will be significantly disrupted by this. And I just want to acknowledge with gratitude that we recognize that. And it is unfortunate, but it's what the department and what the community needs right now is for some, unfortunately, disruption for this temporary plan. I do feel optimistic that this is going to be a good thing for these kids. I know no one wants to think back to the COVID years, but actually within that first spring of 2020, there were a lot of really sweet moments too, of teachers supporting their kids and the kids getting rallied by their families in the community. Of course, it dragged on for a while, but there was actually some really nice positivity in that, of people recognizing the crisis of that and what we need to do to get everybody through. I think, as other people have said, we all have to role model positivity in this for the sake of our kids. And because I do think that it was going to be a special experience. I spoke last time, I'll just comment again briefly, that structured, organized, deliberate, controlled interactions between the high school students and these fourth and fifth graders can be really positive. 15, 16, and 17-year-olds are really good with younger kids in a lot of settings. And I think there has been, unfortunately, a little bit of like disparagement, intended or otherwise, about high school students in general and Bangor high school students in particular, that it's going to be this toxic environment for these kids. Actually, our high school students are 99% wonderful human beings, and they're gonna help. I hope they will help rally here and make these kids and the staff feel welcomed and wanted there. I would love to see, like, I don't know, almost like a committee to make sure that we're ushering this along, and that when it comes to September, the kids are gonna have this feeling of being welcome, and the staff too. And some of the special things about Fairmount can be replicated at the high school. Is it, the painting on the bricks down by the library at Fairmount? Can we find some opportunity at the high school where they can do that? Can the school store be continued more or less in its same form to give these kids consistency and comfort with that? I think we can. I hope we can. I expect us to. I am, I've been way out in front on saying this is going to work so well, so it better, because I don't want to have to eat my words, but I think it will. I'll wind down my comments there, but I just want to also acknowledge that I think I quickly got comfortable with the Bangor High School option because I was a student there myself and I know the layout very well. But that gives me a blind spot as well to what other people who are not as familiar with the building might be feeling. So I think that we really need to make sure we have a series of open houses when the building's ready to go. As many opportunities at different times of the day and different times of the week for families with their students or without their students, whatever they want, to get in there and see the buildings. I just have a sense that it can be truly separated out, the staggered times, the different entrance. I actually want the kids to be able to get into the gym and get onto the stage and in the art areas. I don't know if that's going to be part of the plan, but I think there's some opportunities there. But I will just conclude by saying the concerns people have are legitimate, and I think we have to make sure every single one is mitigated. I think they can all be mitigated. I think that is our responsibility to do that. And I also echo the comments that others have made, that this is just the beginning and we've got a serious multi-year discussion ahead of us about what's going to happen with all these schools. And I just say, finally, the neighborhood schools is a part of the core DNA of Bangor, not just of the school department, but of the community itself. So whatever the long-term plan is, I hope we'll retain some semblance to the extent possible of the neighborhood schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Sprague. Member Bryden.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Robinson, for your recommendation and for sharing. Before I sort of collect my thoughts, I'm curious, you said that you would be talking more about the potential opportunities to talk about what this forward thinking might include, like open houses, communication. Is that where, can you share with us where that might be coming in the, I just want to make sure that.
It's on my report.
Oh, it's in the report.
Yes,
Okay,
the
I wasn't sure if there was like, this is where we were asking those specific, if there were questions about
Oh, I
what
have the-
to expect for open houses or communication plans or.
Yeah,
or if
that's
you'd
what I'm
rather-
going to talk about in the, I mean, I can talk about it now if you prefer. It's fine.
Oh,
I can.
I'm happy to wait for the report. I just.
Okay,
I just wanted
sure.
to make sure, because yeah, I think that, voting on this, we do have to be very mindful of the fact that there are so many questions left unanswered, right? But we also know that we are all here, we've all gotten to this point because there's such a deep, deep care for this community, for these children, for the staff that have spent their careers here and, whose parents have gone here. There's so much goodness and care that comes out of that. And I want to make sure that everyone, has all the information that they need before voting on that, and voting on the recommendation of option 2. I wanted to say too that it's funny that Mr. Bridges brings up a marathon analogy, because I also think of marathon analogies, not because I'm a marathon runner, shocker, I know, but because my friend introduced me to this idea that when you think about love, it's actually just like thinking about mile 20 of a marathon, which is the really hard part where you want to be done and it's ugly. And a lot of people are like, I can't go on, I don't want to do this anymore, but you're kind of close enough and you're kind of there. We're not at mile 20 with this marathon, but I do sense that immense amount of love and push coming together and that support. Those are the people you want to see with the signs on the side of the road then that are like, you can keep going, you're almost there, you've got this. That coming together, that energy and that faith and trust and care that is so integral to this community that we've seen on full display with the emails and the letters and the comments and the public comment, which is a really scary thing to do. So I applaud everyone that comes up and speaks and shares. It's so valuable. It makes such an impact. And it has really created that pivot for all of us, that care and intention that's gone into this, so that we did stop and slow down and reconsider, so that we did bring more people to the table, so that we were really and truly committed to making sure that this was a process where we took time to care about everyone's feedback. And so I know for myself, I can only speak for myself. I really want to speak for all of you, but I know that we can only speak for myself in that we know that this is going to continue. This work is going to continue. We're all here because we really love Bangor, but we especially love school. School's great. School and teachers and those memories and friendships and all the wonderful things that come out of school. We're here because we want that to exist for every child in Bangor, for elementary students, for high school students, for everyone that is going through this really, really tough time. And we can only do it with those people on the side cheering and encouraging and being together. And so I know that this will continue because we will do this together. We will have those, communications, and I've learned, I can speak for myself, I've learned what we can do better to make sure that we are including everyone and that everyone feels seen and heard, and that we can all make sure that we move forward in a way that really engages individuals. So I'm eager for the report and questions about, what that's going to look like in terms of, we've talked about a facilities committee, but what also committee opportunities are there for structure and, outlining the school's future for all of our district, and what does that look like? Because so many people have talents and have ideas. And so I appreciate your patience in pivoting and welcoming that. And I really look forward to continuing that.
Thank you. Actually going to hop in here, and I want to build a little bit on Member Cook and Member Sprague's comments on safety. I mentioned at a meeting prior to that was the most important filter for me in terms of making this decision. I'm very confident that Fairmount students will be safe at Bangor High School using the school within a school approach. School campuses housing students with very significant age ranges are very common, and there's no evidence that points to increased risks to younger children when a school within a school model is implemented with fidelity, and they are segregated from the much older students within the school facility. Again, this type of scenario is very common, and there are examples right here in the Bangor area. The Brewer Community School across the river houses students from ages 4 in pre-K to ages 13 or 14 in 8th grade. The VZ Community School nearby is also a pre-K through 8th grade school and is currently piloting a child development services program in which they have a class of 3-year-olds. The physical, cognitive, social, and emotional differences between a 3 or a 4-year-old and a 13 or a 14-year-old are tremendous. I would argue even more so than a 9 or a 10-year-old and a 16 or a 17-year-old. And again, there's no evidence indicating that the 3 and 4-year-olds at Brewer Community School or VZ Community School are experiencing elevated risks to their safety and well-being. Parents and caregivers of Fairmount students, your children will be as safe at the Bangor High School campus next year as they would be at any of our schools in the Bangor School Department. Thank you. Are there other comments or questions? Member Speed?
Yes, thank you, Chair Surratt, and for the previous comments and the public comments as well from the audience. It's really appreciated. I love hearing all of the suggestions and getting the emails, and I know that we're going to work through this together, but I also want to appreciate sometimes when there's friction, that can be a good thing, because that's how we learn, and that's how we can truly test that we're making the right decisions. So I want to thank folks for that. So I do have some questions about, some of the concerns that are coming in before we make this vote around equity, scope, finance, safety, and viability. But I want to start by reading a couple of quotes from emails we've received. One is, our soon-to-be fourth grader thinks the school within a school is a cool idea, and even joked that she'll show her older brother around the high school someday. My son, the soon-to-be eighth grader, is adamant that he finishes his middle school career at Dowdy. He feels he's earned the last year of middle school and isn't ready for a high school setting. He wants an opportunity to be a leader academically, socially, and athletically. We agree with him. This is from his parents. I could back all of this with articles and data, but my email is an emotional plea. Please choose option 2. We want to keep our community together regardless of the building they're in. And another parent wrote that option number 2 is the most reasonable of the 3, and they're confident of the students and staff will share a unique and special experience during the 2026-27 school year, creating memories to last a lifetime. And of course, those are expressions in support of option number 2. But we also received some emails that had some concerns, including the letter that we have in front of us from Zach and Casey Falcon, who wrote, Fairmount students deserve the same access to educational programming, enrichment opportunities, facilities, and school experiences as their peers elsewhere in the district. They should not be asked to accept a diminished experience simply because they are the group most immediately affected by the situation. Another parent wrote, my concern is that it appears to create an unequal educational environment for one specific group of elementary students, while other viable options exist that maintain more equal access to core school resources and facilities. So on the issue of equity that has come up, how do we ensure access to services, programs, resources that other students are afforded outside of the Fairmount school community? Pupil services, multilingual services, IEPs, access to a library, school nurse, for example.
Want me to answer that? Those are all items that are incorporated in this plan. We've looked at it. We haven't mapped out the specifics of who is going where, but ML services, students with IEPs, nursing, all of that is going to be part of the programming in the lower A wing at the Bangor High School. So there isn't going to be any change. Additionally, I would add our 21st century program is also going to be happening. It's not changing. It follows the students and the school. So that opportunity will still be present for the students. There's really no change in educational programming. There are some shifts in locations of things, certainly. We are looking at the large space that's going to be opened up with our lockers being taken out as a potential area for cafeteria. That's a very wide hallway. I know it sounds small, but it's actually large and very wide. So again, we are working through those details, but in no way is any of the educational programming needs of students going to not happen. They absolutely will be happening.
Any other questions or comments at this time? Member Luciano.
I just wanted to quickly thank everyone again for their comments. It has been really moving to see people genuinely invested. It's lovely, really. I personally, this isn't my favorite, but I realize that it is the community choice and that's what I will support. But I don't know how many parents who don't have high schoolers know about the telescope at the high school. And I feel like that is worth noting.
Thank you. Other questions or comments from the committee? Member O'Keefe, please.
First of all, I'd like to apologize for being late. It's been a day. But I'm happy to be here, and I have said at previous meetings that I take this decision very seriously. I read every single comment. I agonize over it. I think about solutions to the questions that people are asking. I take very comprehensive notes. The things that you've raised, I'm marking them down. And people on the school committee, they know that I ask questions. I might not ask it up here because I value the administrator's time, I value everyone's time, but these will be checked, and I will keep asking these questions about these issues. I mean, they matter to me. I have children, 3 children in the school district. They're sitting right there because, working mom, working dad, that's what happens sometimes. But I appreciate all the information that was given to us, and one of the reasons that I ran was for transparency and open and honest communication. And we don't get it right all the time, of course. There's lots of moving parts. We all have jobs and other responsibilities, as well as the school department has their responsibilities apart from this monumental task that it will be multi-year long task. But I just want to thank everyone. As Member Luciano said, it's very moving to see the support and just the engagement and the willingness to grapple with these tough issues, and I really appreciate that. I also want to thank all the administration, Dr. Robinson, for your willingness to engage and to pivot when needed. I'm honored to be a part of the school committee.
Thank
in
you.
This larger Bangor community.
Thank you. Other questions? Member Speed, please.
Yeah, I have a question about scope, not telescope, but scope. To quote a parent that wrote into us, they shared that option 2 keeps intact our sense of community, especially during the difficult time. Essentially picking up the Fairmount at school and placing it in the high school building makes the most sense to them, given the options provided. Of course, it's not ideal for 9 and 10-year-olds, their 9-year-old daughter and other 4th and 5th graders to be, but they believe the plan laid out to keep the school a separate entity is a safe and reasonable one. And I think folks can agree, like, this isn't ideal. Like, we didn't want this to be the option where we put Fairmount students there. And we certainly don't want them to be there long term. So in terms of scope, knowing the scope of work that was presented at the workshop of being 12 to 18 months after the bids are approved, when can we hold listening sessions on our long-term goal, including the plans for the fall of 2027? And buried in that question is the vote that we're making tonight is a 1-year plan. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So the scope of this goes back to our strategic planning process, which began last fall and into the winter. I'm going to be sharing those next steps. June 24th is going to be the draft analysis where our strategic listening partners who have conducted the research will be here to present those findings. And then there'll be opportunities for a diverse group, including students, community members, teachers, staff, administrators, to take a close look and start to dig into those details. And that will come in July. And then we'll continue from there. We're looking at the facilities process. I'm hopeful that we will have the specifics on the needs with engineering studies behind it for the August meeting so that we'll be able to have more details around that. We have the general overview from several different contracting and engineering companies at this point, but we do need those specifics to be able to make those decisions. And then my hope is to have that plan in sometime in the fall so that we have at least a 3-year strategic plan with, a general overview of what is happening in the fall of 27 and then the fall of 28 as well. I think that everyone has made the point that is so critical, which is it is the beginning. This is the very beginning, and it is unfortunate the way that it has transpired because the aim was to work collaboratively over the summer to develop a plan with all of the input from community partners, families, students as we started. And unfortunately, that's been interrupted with this need for, a shift in that. But I am confident that we are going to come back together, regroup, and have that long-term plan for the fall.
Thank you.
Member Sprague.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I wanted to just draw out the transportation questions too, and not for a specific answer tonight, because I know it's probably in the works. It's a series of conversations, but that is a concern for sure. From some of the West Side neighborhoods, like the West Side neighborhood that flows into Fairmount goes really all the way down to like Main Street. And that is quite a hike to the high school, certainly.
Yes.
And people have after school activities and they just don't want their kids on the bus all day. But I will say, from an equity standpoint, if you think about the Down East neighborhood, the closest school to Down East neighborhood is in fact the high school. And it's much better for those kids. Well, I think it is, but transportation wise, it's much more feasible to get to the high school from the Down East neighborhood than it would be to come all the way into Doughty, or certainly to go all the way back to Mary Snow. So Down East neighborhood, I don't claim to represent it here, but I don't think it gets thought of as much, but that's an unfair comment. We think about Down East, but it just doesn't come up as much as actually the high school is practically around the corner from the Down East neighborhood. So there's some attractive things about the plan for that particular group of students and families, I think.
Thank you.
We can come back to the transportation, but just drawing it out.
Other questions? Yes, Member Vigier?
Yeah, so I just wanted to speak a little bit about like the high school, my high school peers like perspectives. I just think I wanted to emphasize that like a lot of students also are a little bit confused and a little bit nervous about the plan. I think that a lot of students are kind of not very involved within the community, which is something that I think that we're working to change in the high school, and I think it's going very successfully. But yeah, I think a lot of my peers have expressed concerns about like the removal of the lower A wing and wondering whether like classes will be changed and there'll be limited opportunities. So I just think that like it'll be really important in the future to emphasize that like that's definitely not happening and ease the concerns. And I also kind of wanted to build off what other committee members had said. And I think coming from like a K-8 school, like combining both like 4th and 5th graders in Bangor High School will be a wonderful experience. Like I know that there will be like kids there willing to will like love to accept them with open arms and everything. And I think it'll be a very collaborative experience. And I definitely think that there should be more awareness for high school students about like this whole change and everything. Thank you.
Thank you for that important perspective. Appreciate it.
I just want to,
Yeah, please.
I just want to assure all high school students that your classes are not going to be diminished. There's going to be no change in the classes. It's simply a reconfiguration of the location of where the classes will be held. And that's what Dr. Butler and Mr. Doyle and Mr. Reed are working to finalize. And as soon as that's available, that will be shared out. Thank you for bringing that up. It's very important.
Thank you. Member Speed.
So I wanted to ask a question about finances in particular. And this is a big question because a lot of folks actually I'm hearing conflict, right, in the arguments and folks. And this quote, I think, from somebody encapsulates that. They said, "I fully believe that as a district, the end goal should be consolidation. I also grew up in this town and love the close-knit communities we all have with our neighborhood schools. I still believe consolidation should be our end goal, and that is the big question, right? That's the long-term big question. We all value our neighborhood schools. We want equity for our students citywide. When does that start? When does that begin, right? What's the best equity for those students? Is it at 4th grade or is it at pre-K? So those are big questions to be asked. But for finances, the big question that we have before us is the price tag for the estimate for the scope of work of more than $5.5 million. Should we move to renovate the existing buildings that we have or consider consolidation or perhaps a new building? And so when and how will that decision be made?
That goes back to the August, what I had shared just a few minutes ago about the facilities presentation occurring in August. So we anticipate that the engineers and our contractors that we are working with will have an opportunity to get into the school, gather information, and have that presentation with a more detailed scope of work as well as financial obligations as to what the next steps are.
Other questions or comments from the committee? Member Speed, please.
I wanted to highlight safety, and that's been heard in the public comments tonight. It's been heard in emails and heard from teachers as well. And so the idea of interacting with teenagers, 8 to 10-year-olds with teenagers on a daily basis has been expressed as being concerning. And they're asking about bathroom access. They're asking about, with certainty, can we keep the kids separate during the day? They've raised concerns about vape alarms at the high school, and where the 4th and 5th graders or where they may be. And another parent wrote, even one such negative encounter is not acceptable, which I think we can all agree to. So from safety, there is concern within the A-wing hallway about not being able to be blocked off due to fire code. There's concern with the use of bathrooms. So I guess my question is, will there be enough bathrooms in this plan? Will they be inspected daily? Will Fairmount students ever find themselves using the same bathrooms as high school students? How do we approach this to address safety concerns with interactions between the high school students and the Fairmount students?
Those are the systems that are going to be put into place once this vote is finalized. There are bathrooms dedicated to that wing. If there does present an issue where there needs to be additional access, a structured system would be put into place to ensure that students are safe and that they have access to the facilities as they need them.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Other questions or comments? Member Speed.
So I am interested in learning more about, from your report, the viability of carrying out the plan and seeing how it's completed. Is there anything else you can share before we vote about how it will be carried out, how it will be completed? What would emergency plans look like in a space like this? And if option number 2 is approved, when could Fairmount families tour? How soon could they actually get into the A-wing to see it? We had the privilege of seeing the A-wing, walking the A-wing. And I think that helped a lot of committee members better understand and visualize it. So if you could speak to, I know you're going to speak to what's next, but if you could shed a little bit more
Sure.
light, that'd be
Sure.
great.
Yeah, we're in the process of finalizing. I have a draft timeline that still needs to be reviewed by our administrators a third time to make sure everything is included and it's accurate. But we're looking at determining those orientation dates as soon as possible. I think a safe bet would be the week of August 17th. I know folks might want to get in there sooner, but we want to make sure the work gets done. So there's kind of a tricky combination of making sure that everything is ready for the start of school. So we want to get to that as soon as possible. We are looking at preparing signage and schedules, student materials, any and all items that will help to ease this transition for students and for families. Looking at working on those through July. We'll have bi-monthly communication throughout the summer to ensure that everyone stays up to date. That will be a notification that comes out and that will be populated on our dedicated webpage. The open house dates, like I shared, we're looking at, in order for things to be prepared and ready, the August date. I think that answers everything. Mhm.
Member Bryden?
I know that I brought this up because I do want to hear the report, but since all these questions are being asked, may I please request that you just give the report now so that we can have all of the information now?
Sure.
Thank you
So-
very much. I appreciate
Absolutely. So here we are, May, determining the vote. We're looking at, the end of this month. Here we are in June, next week. So finalizing those student support systems, determining orientation dates, identifying staff needs. We have, of course, ensured that staff will have all of the boxes that they need, paid time to pack up their classrooms and make sure that they have the support they need for that allocated time. We'll continue to update the FAQs for staff and families. As I mentioned, just preparing over the summer, going to be preparing signage and schedules. Those have to be finalized. I know people are very anxious to learn about the specific schedule, but the high school schedule is a significantly lengthy process that was done before this option came onto the table. So it is feasible and workable, but it's not complete. So that needs to be finalized. And then we'll look to add in August during our back to school workshop days, any specific training that staff may need or desire to feel that they are prepared for this. And then preparing those welcome activities. During the open house dates, we've had the discussion already of multiple times throughout the week at different times of day to accommodate all different family schedules. And then looking at finalizing bus routes as we work with SEER, that will happen throughout the summer. Of course, welcome activities, and then get ourselves prepared for the beginning of the school year. And then that first week of school and into September, making sure that we are closely monitoring everything that's happening and ensuring that the routines are continually reinforced with students, but also check-ins to see what's working and what might need to be modified. So this is definitely a longer-term ongoing process to ensure that it's working, and administrators, staff, I know, will be flexible, as we've heard here, to meet the needs of students. Educators get into education because they care deeply about students, and every single person that works at the Bangor School Department cares deeply and will do whatever it takes to pivot, to shift, to be responsive to those needs to ensure the students continue to thrive as they have at the Fairmount School and continue at the high school as well.
Yep. Member Cook, please.
So Member Sprague sort of alluded to the fact that as we have sort of talked about these different options, we've really only heard from a segment of the community, and there's another part of the city that we have not heard from. And so as we communicate about this plan, I think we have to be really intentional about picking up phones and documenting the contacts that we make so that we speak to every parent of every student who will be impacted by this, not just newsletters or not just emails or, I think because we do not want anyone to be surprised by this. Member O'Carey talks about how people work and people are busy. And if they haven't engaged with this, we don't want people to be surprised. And then as we continue in this marathon, I want those voices to be represented in this plan. So I think we need to be thinking about how we might canvass in those neighborhoods, whether it's as a school committee or we hire an external entity to canvass to help us hear their voices and ensure their voices are represented in whatever that plan is.
Thank you, Member Cook. Member Bryden.
Thank you. I just also want to echo what Member Cook shared. In thinking about representation and access with busyness, obviously there's a lot of things people are juggling. Any opportunities, I just want to add it to our list of things to do. If there was an opportunity to have listening sessions that shared this in the different neighborhoods, a space, a shared space, so that people were able to come to the table without having to go across town. I know that we have great partnerships with a bunch of different organizations all over the city that would likely open their doors for us to be able to host a listening session, and obviously making that accessible online as well for folks that can't make it. There's so many things that we can do to go to the community. I would love to see that. again, if possible, please. Thank you. Thank you also for this report. I know that this is out of the purview of the school district, but I do think one of the biggest things, I'm not great at checking all schedules, but I always check that SEER bus schedule for what time the bus comes to what spot so that you can sort of organize your day looking at when is the bus going to come to which stop. I know that you will not know when that will become available with this change, but I do think that's going to be an equally valuable thing to message. Here are the new stops. Here are the new times they are coming. This is where you will meet. Some folks that have always walked maybe don't know that there is a bus schedule that you can find your cross streets and look at it and see what time the bus comes and what letter the bus is. That communication, I think, is going to be critically important. And then lastly, even looking at the presentation that you gave during the workshop and seeing a map of the A-wing was really helpful for me to be able to see what it looked like in terms of this is an open space and what an open space looks like. And this is where the doors are. And this is where it looks like the rest. And there's a bathroom here and stairs here. To any degree, if there was a way that we could have a map also added to the website so that folks could, even if it is like, this is the future vision of what the A-wing would look like and how we could, you could see yourself there. You could understand where the entrance is and where the bathrooms are. I think that would be really helpful.
Yep, absolutely. We can look into that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Other questions? Member Speed.
Yeah, I want to build off that. I think that's a wonderful idea. Member Bryden, to go to the neighborhoods and to have listening sessions closer to each of the neighborhoods, because that's a critical way to give voice to folks and to really truly understand, right? Because that conflict exists of consolidation versus saving our neighborhood schools. And when, I get a feeling that some folks would love to maintain these old buildings as long as possible for centuries from now. But we do have to have that tough conversation. So, and I think building on momentum from what we were hearing tonight from the public comment to keep engagement going, right? To not drop the ball now. And I completely appreciate the dates of, okay, now if we approve this option, then we've got to get to work and we need to get it to a place by August so that we can open the doors to the community before the school starts. So I would really encourage continuing the momentum, continue the listening sessions, have formation of the committee that can include community members and parents and probably a lot of folks tonight, right? That could probably sign on a piece of paper on their way out their door that they would be involved and want to be involved as soon as possible. So I do appreciate what I'm hearing. Of the options, I think option 2 is the best short-term solution. But I think we do need to pivot very quickly towards plans for the fall of 2027, as well as the long-term plans for our schools.
Thank you, Member Speed. Any other questions or comments from the committee? Member Sprague.
I just want to briefly acknowledge committee member VJ's comments about the high school students too, and really involving them in the listening sessions too, and making sure that we're attending to any anxieties or uncertainties they might have as well as getting ideas and feedback from them. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? All right. The Fairmount reorganization plan has been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
7-0. Thank you.
All right. Moving forward to informational items. We have a superintendent's update. Superintendent Robinson.
So it's been an exciting past few weeks, not only with all of the reorganization work that's being done, but there's so much to celebrate at this time of year. I've been able to attend many award ceremonies the past couple of weeks at both the middle schools and the senior awards at the high school. We also had the Special Olympics last week that over 100 of our students were able to attend that, and that was a wonderful event. At the end of the year and various times during the year, we offer peak events at our title schools. And those evenings include learning games and often allow parents to leave with ideas and topics that they can also support their children with at home. I've talked about the reorganization timeline. Once that is finalized, I have 2 meetings scheduled next week to work with administrators and finalize these details up to date to where we are now, and that will be posted on the webpage. We are still in the process of our budget. The final vote will be in June with our city council. And as I mentioned earlier, strategic planning continues over the summer. Our draft analysis will be shared at the end of June. And then there'll be further opportunities for involvement as we move forward. Cell phone policy changes are coming and need to be in place by August 1st. And this is also a busy time of year for DOE reporting. There are many reports that we need to finalize our data, input it into the system for the DOE that are due typically by the end of June. So we're working on those as well. Any questions?
Any questions from the committee? All right. Moving on to report of resignation. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm reporting the following resignations for the 2026-2027 school year. Derek Gendreau, special education teacher at Vine Street School. James Fahey, French teacher at Bangor High School. Barbara Stewart, science teacher at Bangor High School. Gabrielle Bourgoin, grade 5 teacher, Mary Snow School. Dana Morris, school counselor, Abraham Lincoln School. Maria Glidden, occupational therapist, district-wide. Karen White, grade 6 teacher, William S. Cohen School. Christy McClure, Title I teacher, Abraham Lincoln School.
Thank you. And we have a report of a leave of absence. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm reporting a 2-year leave of absence for Casey Grunder, grade 5 teacher at the Mary Snow School. She has been selected as part of the Maine Department of Education's Maine Learning Technology Initiative, which is our MLTI, and she will be an ambassador for the next 2 years, and then we'll return after that.
Thank you. And we have a report for resignations. Superintendent Robinson. Excuse me, reassignments.
Yeah, for reassignments. The following reassignments are for the 2026-2027 school year. Jessica Gallant from social worker at the Bangor Regional Program to social worker at point 6 Mary Snow and point 4 Abraham Lincoln School. And Lindsay Chadbourne from social worker at point 5 Fruit Street School and point 5 Abraham Lincoln School to social worker at Fruit Street School.
Thank you. And moving on to business action items, we have minutes from the regular meeting of May 13, 2026. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm recommending approval of the draft minutes of the May 13th, 2026 regular school committee meeting.
I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
7-0. Thank you.
Moving on to a financial report, we have the April 2026 financial report. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm recommending approval of the April 2026 financial report.
And I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
7-0. Thank you.
And then we have a bids and quotations report. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm recommending approval of the bids and quotations report.
I have a motion. That's
Second.
fine. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
7-0. Thank you.
All right, moving to teacher nominations, we have new teachers for 2026-2027 school year. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm recommending the following teacher nomination for the 2026-2027 school year with a 1-year probationary contract. Mr. Jacob Gurry is here this evening. Just stand up for a second back there. Thank you. He is going to be our physical education teacher with the approval of the committee at Bangor High School. He comes to us with over 25 years of experience from a variety of different locations, and we're very pleased to have him hopefully join our team.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
7-0. Thank you.
And welcome, and thank you for coming tonight. Next, we move on to second reading of revised policies. So we have second readings of revised policies here. Oh, we do have a personnel. Oh, we do have extra duty. My apologies. We have extra duty assignments. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm recommending the following extra duty assignments for the 2025-2026 school year. Kathy Rice, mentor BHS for James Fahey. Katrina Rutherford, mentor Down East for Haley Burgess. Jennifer Haskell, mentor at Fairmount for Walter Stanley. Joni Buck, mentor Fairmount for Alexander Randall. Joni McDade, mentor at Fairmount for Olivia Belbutte. Sherry Benson, mentor at 14th Street for Kelly Thompson. Jillian Cookson, mentor, 14th Street for Sarah Mishu. Kate Sullivan, mentor, Fruit Street for Garrett Johnson. Elise Caldwell, mentor at James F. Dowdy for Jonathan Dowdy. Tracy Vasilov, mentor at James F. Dowdy for Alyssa Kubesh. Lise Budden, mentor at Mary Snow for Haley Anderson. Rebecca Rowe, mentor at Mary Snow for Juliana Hudson. Angela Lundy, mentor at Mary Snow for Heidi Fairbrother. Jennifer Albert, mentor, Mary Snow and Fairmount for Alexa Bartley. Anne Marie Dion, mentor for Jacob Clark. Lisa McLaughlin, mentor for Sarah Brooke. Katrina LaJoy, mentor at Cohen School for Catherine Copeland. Tricia Martin, mentor at Cohen for Emma Nelson. Jane Freeman, mentor for Emma Nelson for 2 months, and Deborah Sykes, mentor at Cohen for Isaac Bushway. For the 2026-2027 school year, James Martyr, assistant varsity coach, Bangor High School. Anna McDonald, coach for cross country at Bangor High School.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
7-0. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we're moving on to second reading of revised policies. We have several policies. Is the committee comfortable taking them together? Member Cook?
I would like to request that we take out policy JIC, the code of conduct. So last time I recommended we make some adjustments based on the National Association of Family, School, and Community Engagement. And it's my understanding that Dr. Harris Smedberg has legal looking at this one to adjust the title. And also they're going to have the DEI committee look at it. So if we could remove that one until that review happens, that would be great.
Okay.
If we could not, the committee has discussed that we want to actually do a lot with language on this and probably do some overhaul on it. But because of the legal piece that we have been actually recommended to change that title. So we have it in the notes to make sure that we come back to it and you would see it again fairly soon. But in order to meet the legal obligations that we're being advised to do, then we really should and come
bring it
back.
back.
Because we can visit a policy multiple times. It's not like one time and done. But I'm sorry.
So we're going to keep that one in. All right. Member Luciano? Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate it. Member Luciano?
I just wanted to thank the policy committee for creating policy BID. It is one of our more exciting roles here. Besides policy work, we earn $125 twice a year. And I'm glad we now have that recorded for everyone. Thank you, policy committee.
Thank you. All right, so we'll take these together. Superintendent Robinson.
New policy, BID, school committee member compensation and expenses. Revised policy, GDB 5, lunch aid compensation guide. Revised policy, GDB 6, executive office compensation guide. Revised policy, GDB 7, support staff compensation guide. Revised policy, GDB 8, adult and community education compensation guide. Revised policy, GDB 9, supplemental compensation guide. Revised policy, GDB 10, technology compensation guide. Revised policy, IHBAA, referral, pre-referral of students with disabilities. revised policy IHBAC, child find for special education and/or related aids and services, revised policy JIC, student code of conduct.
May I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion or questions from the committee? All those in favor?
7-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like we have no introduction items tonight. No committee appointments, representative reports. Do we have any representative reports tonight? All right. Moving to our student committee member update, please.
Okay. So it's an exciting time of year with the school wrapping up, and the seniors' last day coming up with graduation taking place on June 6th at the Cross Insurance Center. And so Bangor High School seniors today had their annual senior prank event, which was a wedding that they brought to the school and participated in outside the school, along with a barbecue. Senior sign out day was also today, where many seniors wore white shirts for everyone to sign, which is exciting. And the senior sunset is taking place today, which is why my other committee member, Brandon, is not here. The STEM 2027 program would like to extend a heartfelt thank you and warm farewell to Dr. Stewart as she retires this year. She has made a really meaningful difference in a lot of our lives and everything, and we just want to wish her the best in her retirement and thank her for her years of dedication and commitment. And then Bangor High School's math team is departed with their top competitors to the national mathematics lead, Arnold, tomorrow in New Hampshire. And Bangor High School's orchestra, band, and chorus participated in the spring concert, which was a great success. Spring sports are starting to wrap up with great records for all. And finals are set to take place June 11th through 16th, and then we're all out of school. Academic awards took place on May 21st, where many students were recognized for their great academic excellence and various other achievements and awards. Which is very exciting. And Bangor High School actually hosted the middle school science fair where students from the STEM classes were able to come down and interact with the middle school students, which I thought was a great promotion of community and a great example of Bangor pride. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Member Bryden?
Can I just quickly say, I know that Brandon's had a very busy year, but it was a delight working with him the time that he served, and we are incredibly grateful for his commitment and opportunities that he shared on this board. So thanks, Brandon.
Member Sprague?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Great student update. Nailed it. Well done. I cannot let the Teacher of the Year pass by without making a brief comment. Congratulations. It's not every day one of your golf course employees gets named Teacher of the Year. But really, our kids have had a wonderful experience at Fairmount with many teachers, one of whom is sitting right next to Marcy's right, by the way. It is a special place for all kinds of reasons. Teachers first and foremost. You could tell by Mrs. Susie's comments tonight how much the school community means to her, but she means a lot to us as parents too. If every kid could be so lucky to have one Mrs. Susie, they would be very well off. And if every school department could have one as well, I don't even know what to say other than I counted up while I was sitting here, and as a parent, not as a school committee member, but as a parent, I have received 35 emails from Marcy since January 1. And I love that. And a whole handful of phone calls and texts too, just to check in. Not even always about the positive stuff and not all about the negative stuff. Both sides and the in-between things as well. And pictures, and these emails have titles like wonderful start to the year in math, so proud, productive struggle, donut day, bakery day. It's a very special place in that classroom. And I think sometimes academic rigor and emotional well-being of students sometimes get put on opposite sides of the coin, but it is encapsulated in that classroom. And I feel like as parents, we are so grateful to have Marcy as a teacher and for the Fairmont community to have her as well. So congratulations. Thank you.
Other questions or comments from the committee? Member Cook.
Marcy didn't go into details about this, and she won't, but the process to become a County Teacher of the Year is quite rigorous, and there are many, many nominees. So once you're nominated, there are a series of prompts you must answer, and you have to be very reflective, and then it becomes like the most rigorous job interview process that you've ever been a part of. And you're interviewed by state board members and state representatives and sometimes the commissioner or the deputy commissioner. And so I just wanted the people out there and the people listening to know that this is just a very commendable honor, and we're so lucky to have you in our district. So congratulations.
Thank you. Other questions or comments from the committee? Member Speed.
Yeah, I just also wanted to piggyback on, it's so wonderful to see the end of year awards at all the schools. We're seeing the folks pictured on social media. That's wonderful. Thank you for that at the different schools. And looking forward to next week being June. It's amazing that we're moving towards graduation and the always popular alma mater march, which is exciting. It's a great experience for the students from Bangor. It's a wonderful event, and then one that inspires the next generation of graduates. So looking forward to that.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the committee? All right, I've just got a couple of remarks I want to make. First, to my colleagues on the school committee, at the May 13th school committee workshop, I pushed for adjournment of the meeting a little aggressively, and in doing so, some of you weren't able to fully participate in the discussion. It was an error on my judgment, and I sincerely apologize. Also, thank you for your wisdom and professionalism over these past 4 weeks as we've navigated these very difficult issues. To Superintendent Robinson and the administrative team, thank you for your ongoing professionalism and the incredible amount of work you've done to conceptualize the various reorganizational plans that have been up for consideration, and your outreach to the broader school community for their input. Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the committee? All right. Moving to informational items, important dates. Wednesday, June 10, 2026, regular meeting, 7 p.m. in the council chambers. Thursday, June 11, 2026, we have a school committee retreat from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the University of Maine at Augusta campus here in Bangor. Wednesday, June 17, 2026, is the end of year assembly at 7:45 a.m. at Peaks Auditorium. Wednesday, June 24, 2026, regular meeting, 7 p.m. council chambers, and Wednesday, July 15th, 2026, regular meeting, 7 p.m. here in the council chambers. May I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? We are adjourned.
7-0. Thank you.